So you're thinking about moving to Murfreesboro, Tennessee, and you want to know more about the area. Well, today we're going to talk about the pros and cons of living in Murfreesboro. We are going to have more videos coming out on this area. I do have more and more people asking me about this, so I just wanted to put out some content on this. So today we're going to talk a little bit more about Murfreesboro. Murfreesboro is the largest suburb of Nashville, located just south, and there are a lot of really wonderful things about Murfreesboro, a lot of things people love, but like any place, it's also going to have some cons, so we are going to talk about those. Especially if you're moving from another state, this should give you a little bit more insight. So if this is your first time visiting my channel, my name is Jennifer Gramling. I'm a real estate agent here in the Nashville area, and I just put out weekly content trying to get you more familiar with Nashville. If you're thinking about moving here or relocating, this is going to be a great channel for you, so be sure to subscribe. We do neighborhood tours, city tours, we talk about all the best places to live, cost of living, all of those things, so be sure to subscribe. And like I said, I am an agent in the area, so if you have questions at all about moving here or relocating, I'd be happy to help you. I have tons of people reaching out, a lot of people moving here, just like you, relocating to the area with lots of questions. So don't hesitate to email, call, text, however you want to get a hold of me. There's also a Calendly link in the comments, so if you want to book a time to book a Zoom call to talk directly with me, you can do that as well. Okay, so let's go ahead. Let's jump into Murfreesboro, Tennessee. What a great place to live. Let's talk more about it. Okay, so like I said, Murfreesboro is not a small town. So frequently when I make these videos and I'll be talking about certain suburbs and I'll say it's a small town located outside of Nashville. Not the case here. So this is going to be the largest suburb that you could move to outside of Nashville. So the population here is going to be about 165 to 170,000 people. So this is not a small town. However, I will say if you want to get out and you want to have that small town feel, there are plenty of areas of Murfreesboro where you can do that. There's still a lot of rural land out there, a lot of farms, a lot of small town living, but if you want to be in that bigger city with a lot more amenities and a lot more things going on, Murfreesboro does have a lot of that. So we're going to cover a little bit of that here in just a minute. Okay, so getting on to our first pro, and that is going to be home prices. The home prices here in Murfreesboro are some of the best kind of in the Nashville metro area as far as suburbs go. So the average home price here in Murfreesboro is just under $462,000. So less than half the price of some of these other areas where a lot of people are flocking to, like Franklin, where the average home price has climbed to almost $995,000. Nolensville is $807,000 and Mount Juliet is $582,000. And those are just some popular areas that are requested when people are moving here. So you're getting a lot more home for your money here in Murfreesboro than you're going to get in a lot of other suburbs. And that's going to lead me into pro number 2, which is that there's just a lot of variety of different housing options here in Murfreesboro. So like I said, if you want to be in a more rural area, you can definitely do that in Murfreesboro, or if you want to be in town, you can. So we're going to talk a little bit more about the downtown area in just a little bit, but there are downtown areas that have older historic homes that you can buy. There's lots of planned communities that have pools and playgrounds and amenities and all of those types of things with lots of neighbors that are close by for a close, tight-knit community. You've also got loads of neighborhoods that are going to be homes with half-acre lots. So if you want that more spread out feel, which a lot of people who are moving here from other states for me do ask me, we want a house with a larger lot, a third to a half an acre, even 3/4 of an acre. Is that possible? A lot of these other suburbs, that's harder to do. It's harder to find some of those larger half-acre lots if you're not buying a $2 million home. And that's just not the case here in Murfreesboro. You can get a lot more of that. There's a lot more available to you of those types of homes here. Of course, there are townhomes and apartments here. And then Del Webb is also building an amazing 55 plus community that's in the works. They've just broken ground on it. So there's going to be an amazing 55 plus community. A lot of people call me looking for that. Really, the only two Del Webb communities or 55 plus communities with those types of amenities are currently in Spring Hill or Mount Juliet. So this is going to open up that option for them as well. So that's going to be a really nice addition. And even when I go back to some of these homes that you can buy in Murfreesboro, some of the home options here are just hard to get at this price point in other towns, like I said. So I currently have a listing here in Murfreesboro, and while you could get a home probably for a similar price on this size of lot, maybe in somewhere like Hendersonville, probably nowhere else could you find a house of this size on this lot for this price. But not only that, but the finishes on it are just so absolutely beautiful. You've got that modern farmhouse look to it. In a lot of the other suburbs, what you're going to be finding are a little bit more traditional looking, but here in Murfreesboro that you might be looking for that are a little bit more modern and those upgraded features on that larger lot. And really one of the only places that you're going to be able to find those is going to be here in Murfreesboro. So really just the variety of different housing options that you can get here makes this a really attractive place to live, and especially for the price point. Okay, the third pro that we're going to talk about today is going to be taxes. So if you've done any research at all about Tennessee, I'm sure you know that there's no state income tax here in Tennessee, which is a huge benefit to a lot of people. But the other really great tax benefit here is going to be the property taxes. So in a lot of states, they may not have that state income tax, but those property taxes might be a lot higher. Here, our property taxes are very reasonable, but it's very important that you understand how to calculate that here in Murfreesboro. So the tax rate here in Murfreesboro, you'll be paying 0.9526% to Murfreesboro and 1.162 to Rutherford County for a combined total of 2.5688%. But that is not on the full value of the house, which is why it's important to understand how to calculate your taxes here. So basically, they reassess home values every 4 to 6 years here in Tennessee, and they come up with that appraised tax value, which is typically lower than what it might sell for, but I always tell people to plan for the worst. Make sure that you can pay that, and then you will very likely have a lot of breathing room on that. But then you take a quarter of that number, and that becomes your assessed value, which is what that percentage is multiplied against. So for instance, let's say you have a house that has a tax appraisal value of $600,000. You multiply that number by 0.25, so you're going to take a quarter of that number, and you get $150,000. That would be your assessed value. Then you're going to take that number and multiply that by your tax rate, which in Rutherford County and Murfreesboro, it's going to be 2.5688%. And you get a grand total of $3,853.20, which would be your tax bill for the year. Now, as I understand it, in many other states, that percentage, that 2% or whatever it might be, is multiplied against the full value of the house. Here in Tennessee, it's basically a quarter of the value of the house, which makes our property taxes really low in comparison to a lot of other places. So when people are thinking about moving here, when they're thinking about relocating, they're looking at property taxes, no state income taxes. It costs a lot less to register your car here. We don't have that excise tax that's absolutely exorbitant. You're not going to pay $1,000 a year to register your car. You're going to pay $50 to $100 for those license plates, somewhere in there, but it's a really low fee compared to a lot of other places. So that's a big draw to living in this area. Okay, the fourth pro is going to be proximity to Nashville. So Murfreesboro is located in a really great location. You can take a couple of different ways to get up into Nashville, but it's really only on a good day going to take you about 30 to 35 minutes. It's about 16 miles to get into downtown Nashville from Murfreesboro. Keep in mind that is when there is absolutely no traffic at all. We'll talk about that later in the cons, but it is a great location as far as being in close proximity to Nashville. You're also very close to a lot of different things. You're close to both Percy Priest Lake and Old Hickory Lake. You can also go south to get down to Timms Ford Lake as well. Will take you no time at all. And also it's only going to take you about 20-30 minutes to get over to Franklin. So if you're wanting to go into Franklin, it's really easy to get over there too. So the location is great, but a lot of people really like being kind of within that 30 to 40 minute window from Nashville, kind of depending on what part of Murfreesboro you're in. Murfreesboro does cover a lot of ground, so you can be closer or further away, just kind of depending on what part of Murfreesboro you're in, obviously. But location is a big draw. Okay, my fifth and final pro is that there's tons of shopping, restaurants, all kinds of things here in Murfreesboro. So like I said, it is a bigger suburb. I mean, it's a big city in and of its own right. So you're going to have everything you need right here. So a lot of towns that I'll talk about, I might say there's no big box stores and things like that. You definitely don't have that here. Whatever you're going to want, your Sam's, your Targets, your Walmarts, you're going to have really good access to right here in Murfreesboro. There's also a really cute historic downtown square. So if you kind of want the best of both worlds, you want to be able to get down into that little historic square. It's really, really cute. Take a drive through here with me really quick, and you can see that on this square, you're going to have lots of shops, restaurants, places to explore. And of course, there's going to be events down here and just lots of reasons to get out and enjoy this historic downtown square. So kind of like Franklin and some of these other places, when you want this historic charm, you want to feel like you're in that small southern town, you definitely have that here in Murfreesboro. And like I said, here on this square, a lot of cool places to explore and to get out and to enjoy. But then you've also got tons of newer developments going in. Over off Medical Center Parkway, they're putting in all kinds of new little squares with soda shops and sandwich shops and all kinds of different places to eat, and just lots of great small businesses to support here in this area. So you should have no shortage of places that you want to go shop and eat. Really, there's just tons of options here in Murfreesboro, you're never going to run out of places to go. If you're wanting to get out, shop, eat, do all that stuff, you've got it all right here. And then, like I said before, you're just a short distance from Nashville. If you want to get into Nashville or Franklin or any of those places and go enjoy all of the things they have to offer, you can do that as well. Okay, and now we're going to jump into our cons. So our first con, and one of our biggest, is probably going to be traffic. So we talked a little bit earlier, and I alluded to it a little bit, that the traffic getting into Nashville can be a little bit of a bear from Murfreesboro. So you've got one of two ways you can get up into Nashville. One of them would be 24. The other one is to take 840 around and to get on 65 and take that up into Nashville. 24 is kind of known to get pretty jammed up during those rush hour times, and you can kind of forget about it. If there's an accident or really bad weather, 24 can be a bear. So like I said, if you're traveling during those off hours, you're not traveling during those peak rush hour times, then it's really easy to get up into Nashville. If you have a job where you need to commute during 8 o'clock and 5 o'clock, you may or may not run into some trouble on 24. So that's just something to keep in mind. If you don't want a long commute and you do have to commute during those hours, then my recommendation to people is to come and drive that. Like if you're taking a trip here and you're coming to explore houses and all those different things, maybe make a trip. If you find a house that you like and you have to commute into downtown Nashville, maybe go there at 8 o'clock in the morning and drive into what your drive would be like to work and see what that looks like for you and see if it's something that's doable. But if you're in those off hours or you're driving when there's not a ton of other people on the road, or you have some flexibility with that, really, it's only 30 to 40 minutes on the highway, and it's just not a bad commute at all. So it's all going to depend on the time of day and when you're commuting. Okay, so my second con is going to be that fine dining options are going to be a little bit limited in Murfreesboro. So you are going to have a ton of different restaurants that you can choose from and places to go out and eat, like we talked about before. There's the Alley on Main, the Goat, the Chop House, Puckett's, Marina's on the Square, and Donut Country. If you like donuts, my friend says that in and of itself is a reason to move to Murfreesboro. There's going to be tons of places for you to go out and eat. But if you're looking for that 5-star fine dining experience, then you're probably going to need to look a little bit further than Murfreesboro. But this is absolutely a great reason to get out and enjoy Nashville, Franklin, Brentwood, and some of these other areas that have a lot more to offer by way of fine dining options than you'll find in Murfreesboro. So then you kind of get the best of all the worlds. You have tons of great options in Murfreesboro, but then you get to go out and enjoy some of those fine dining options in other parts of the metro area. Okay, my third con is going to be that this is a college town. So this actually is not really a con for me. I wouldn't think it was a con, but some people really do. I don't find it to be that college-y per se, but MTSU is located here close to that historic downtown area, and it's a really big campus. So you've got just over 20,000 students who attend MTSU. So you are going to have those game days, all those things where traffic is going to be a little bit worse down there. You're going to have all of the students, but I do find that it's pretty confined to that area. So if you're looking at one of these planned communities that's located a little bit further out from that downtown center, you're not going to run into as much of that college population as you would if you were living down there right by the college. But I do know that this is a concern for some people, but I do really find that that student body population is pretty concentrated down there, more towards the campus, more towards that downtown. And like I said, Murfreesboro is a huge area. So if you're in one of these neighborhoods really outside of that, you're not going to encounter that quite as much, but it can also be really fun. So if you're wanting to go to some of those college games or take advantage of seeing some of their theater programs that they put on and all those kinds of things, or even if you're wanting to take classes yourself, there's a lot of great reasons to be in that college town community. So it's really up to you if that's a pro or a con. Okay, so the fourth con, and this is just going to be kind of a general Tennessee con as well, and that's going to be the weather. So in the summertime, as you probably know, it can get hot here in Tennessee. Now, this is not going to last forever, and it's actually really pretty quick. It's only a few months, but it can get decently hot and pretty sticky here in Murfreesboro. So if you absolutely hate humidity, it's not going to be your favorite time of year. It's not my favorite time of year. The great thing is that you can get out, enjoy some lakes, enjoy the pool or something like that, or you stay in your house, you turn on your air conditioner, which by the way will take all of the humidity out of your house. It'll feel nice and dry and cool in your house. You just leave that air conditioner on and you'll feel great inside your home, but it does get pretty hot and kind of steamy for those few months. The great news is that for the rest of the year, it's absolutely beautiful. So it doesn't feel super humid to me outside of those 3 months or so in the summertime when it gets really sticky. Your spring, winter, and fall are going to feel absolutely fantastic. And because we have all that humidity, or I guess rather we have the humidity because we have all of the moisture in the air here, which makes things so green, so pretty. You're gonna have rain rain, which also means you're going to have beautiful grass, beautiful trees, flowers, all of those things. So while the stickiness may not feel the best for those few months, all of that makes for a really beautiful landscape. So if you can deal with that and you can deal with the humidity for a little bit, it's definitely worth it. But that also leads us into con number 5, and that is going to be allergies. So Tennessee is one of the worst states for allergies. It is going to depend on what you're allergic to. So I actually had really bad allergies in Colorado when we lived there. Here, I don't have any. My mom was the opposite. She had really bad allergies here and had 0 in Colorado. So whatever it was that either one of us is allergic to, it's obviously opposite of the other. So you'll want to do some research, come here, spend some time, figure out what you're allergic to, and see if those things are high here. I know that there's some people that this is just unbearable. If you live in a state where you're allergic to a lot of things and you're having to have allergy shots and can't really go outside, I mean, they can get really bad when we have a lot of things in bloom here in this area. So you're going to want to do a little bit of research on that. We don't want you to get here and have your eyes swollen shut from allergic reactions and all those kinds of things. So do your research, figure out what you're allergic to, if that's going to be a problem here, and if you can live with it. If you can, it's a great place to live. Okay, so those are my 5 pros and cons of living in the Murfreesboro area. Like I said, I am going to do another video on Murfreesboro. I'm going to keep putting out more information on this area. I do have more and more people asking me about this, so I want to get more information out there. We're going to talk a lot more about the areas, parts of town, different neighborhoods and things. So we will get those covered soon in another video. So be sure to stay tuned, subscribe. And of course, if you have any questions at all, be sure to reach out to me. Again, you can find all my contact information in the comments. I'd be happy to answer any and all of your moving questions. Thanks so much, and we'll see you on the next video.